Good morning, traders. So I'm going to start off with the bond market real quick here, starting with the 30-year T-bills. We're currently still on the bullish side of trend. We've had a 2-month breakout on the monthly time frame. We're back testing it as we speak. Still, this is more of a bull flag scenario here on the ZBs. We have to see how this develops. We are on the bullish side of trend currently here on our ZBs. So let's definitely keep that on watch. Uh, ZNs near treasuries. Bullish side of trend. We are more in a uptrend from the lows here on our ZNs. Trend's a little bit different here on the ZNs. We are currently right at monthly resistance doing a back test. This has to become a new support here near term here. Could be coming back down into that regression line. You know, but they definitely want to turn this into new support here soon. Otherwise, we could be seeing another breakdown here in our bond markets on the. So let's definitely keep that one on watch. Still acting like a bull flag. ZF, that your treasuries, we literally are showing a little bit more weakness here in the front end of the yield curve as we from the recent lows in the 2 years, we have managed to come right back into the regression line, coming into a critical backtest point here on our ZN. So be very mindful of that. Okay. Uh, so definitely some things to be keeping an eye here on our bond market and yields. We're coming into critical uh, backtest points. Uh, could be a very important point for them to rally the bond market, uh, but could very well, you never know, it could fail. So definitely something definitely keep an eye on. But right here, right now, the bond market is looking like bull flags. So just be very mindful of that going forward here. Other things I'm looking at here. We do still have a bid in the dollar, so be very mindful of that. So even though the bond market is coming down a little bit, yields are going higher. We're actually catching a little bit of a bid in the U.S. dollars. So it's typically pretty bad if you have the dollar coming down and the bond market coming down, and we don't currently have that. We actually have a slight bid in the U.S. dollar. So be very mindful of that. Okay. Other things that I can show you here, guys. Okay. Some things I'm looking at here. I got this on the weekly time frame. This is our weekly 5 SMA. And I told you guys that I have really been waiting to see if we're going to get a back test of this weekly 5 SMA. We currently have not done that. Okay. And that would put us down into uh, right around the 65 87 area. Currently 65.87 would be higher next week if they draw it out till next week. Another thing that we can take away that we have from yesterday, we did come down to this week's current market maker expected move. So we came down to this week's expected move and they bounced it off that expected move. And if you look on the SPX currently, we are trading at well, basically, we're going to be trading right around the 6,600 mark here on SPX. So this video is being made before 8:30. So remember, guys, right there at 6,600, that is a major put wall. So if we were to open below the current price, below 6,600, then that would suggest that we're going to be opening the day in negative gamma. So let's be very mindful of that. The longer we stay in negative gamma, the more devastating it can be to the broader markets. So be very mindful of that. Okay. Another thing to mention here, we have our MACD here on the ESs on the daily time frame. We are officially crossing the MACD here on the ESs here. And what we did here, the last time we crossed, that actually created that explosive rally that kicked off from September 10th. From September 10th, it really started around September 10th, had this big explosive rally, and so now we're crossing to the other direction on the MACD. we could be seeing the full reversal of that September 10th breakout. So be very mindful of that. The pattern suggests that we could see a complete rotation down to 65.41. Okay, that's the breakout point as well. So right here, this could be a target point to be thinking at 65.40 as a potential target to complete the pattern, since we got the MACD crossing over, potentially breaking. So just something to think about in the back of our minds as we go forward here. Okay. Put your CPRs on here on the weekly time frame. Go down here on smaller time frame here. We're currently trading below last week's central pivot range. So this is our central pivot range. So we're in the bearish side of inventory from last week. So be very mindful of that. We're going into this session today on the bearish side of inventory. So be very mindful of that. Another thing which I noticed in the my research in the overnight, SMH, they actually were accumulating put protection in SMH in yesterday's session, even though SMH did rally. And they did manage to close SMH more in cumulative negative gamma versus positive. So be very mindful of that. That could be a major headwind for the rest of the week and the next couple weeks, actually. The fact that they're actually putting more insurance on the semiconductors, which is supposed to be, you would think if they were really looking for some growth in the markets, they would be less likely to be adding protection in the biggest alpha area or beta area of the market. So be very mindful of that. Okay. Okay, guys, here on the NQs real quick here, some big takeaways here. We have not come back down into the weekly 5 SMA yet. So let's definitely keep that on line. That's been my primary thesis to keep an eye on, the back test of that 5 SMA. We did manage to hit the expected move for the week yesterday, so that could be it for the downside for the week. We never know. Definitely keep that one on watch too. 3 CPRs. We're currently trading, let's go here on 30 minutes. We're currently trading inside of last week's central pivot range. So that's a little bit more bullish. Typically, if I'm looking for a bearish market, I am looking for the NASDAQ to be leading to the downside, and we're currently not quite doing that. So be very mindful of that if you're trying to be a big perma bear in the market. So bottom line is, I knew we were going into critical economic data today. And what we did last time, whenever we got in this situation where we looked below negative gamma the day before, they rallied it big time the next day. Okay, so just be very mindful of that. We looked below in the negative gamma twice yesterday, and they had a big rally the following day into the economic data last time. So we might be seeing a big rally day. We never know. They could squeeze us. That is the potential. Okay. It does look like VIX is supported at this level. So be very mindful of that as well. Just a few little takeaways that I'm looking at here on that. The Russell looks like it has a little bit different structure, especially in the past 24 hours. Like they might be coming in here trying to support the Russell at this price point. So we definitely want to keep that in the back of our minds going forward here. So bottom line is we know the bond market's coming into support areas, and we're seeing gamma exposure suggesting that they're trying to support the Russell as well. So be very mindful of that. So my main takeaway here is the gamma exposure was actually building to the upside yesterday here in the Russell. So be very mindful of that. We had a slight outperform as the Russell was coming down, suggesting dip buyers are sitting there and getting interested in the Russell on this dip. So we have to be mindful of that as we go ahead and trade this market. Okay, guys. So that's my big takeaway on some of the main things here. Let me see what the pre-market is doing here on the main indices. Here, let me get that set up here. The big outperformed this morning on volume. Intel's up this morning again. Nvidia's down. Okay, China Internet looks like in general down this morning. Oracle's down this morning. We did have earnings last night. What was it that had earnings last night? I'm trying to remember here. Okay, Costco reported earnings last night. They have quite a high earnings multiple, even higher than that perceived as Nvidia's earnings multiple. And it did manage to sell off on the. They had good earnings report, but you know the multiples were so high, they are selling off a little bit this morning post the Costco print. Some quick ideas that I've got going on here is Broadcom. Since earnings, it has been on a very good stock. Since earnings, we've come down into this by the dip zone. We looked below that yesterday, and it rallied up in yesterday's session in face of a fairly crappy tape. So I'm keeping an eye on this one here as a potential buy the dipper. So going forward here, I'm looking for this to look above my buy zone, possibly back test it one more time, and then look for the long side on Broadcom. If that scenario plays out, I also got an alert. I got that's above. Sorry, I got the wrong one. I just put alert. If we break down, if we come back down into this level again, it's looking problematic that we will be coming down, and we just got a very little to no support below us here. If it starts to slip, the good thing about it is we're not gapping down into that area early on this morning. But right here, right now, I would have to say in the back of my mind, this looks like a setup to buy the dip. So, guys, we had some really ugly news out of Tesla yesterday and the European sales. It was pretty bad. And so, basically, what we want to look at right here, right now, uh, is this going to be a continuation on the bearish trend? This low right here is really important now. Is see if that's going to become new resistance on Tesla. This low here. So, we're at right around 421.20, something like that. Uh, you don't want to see much price action above that. Okay, they want to turn that into new resistance. So you got a little berth here, all the way down to the 415. Okay, but you do have a little bit of a berth here to keep an eye on here. If you look at your market maker expected move, have to go over here on the daily here real quick and see how did that play out. See, we still got plenty of room to the downside after horrible news on the numbers out of Tesla. So we can go down to 401. 401, that's still within the predictive model of Tesla. So let's be very mindful of that going forward here. Potentially all the way back down to 401 today. And we would still not be an outside move on Tesla. Important to note here, Oracle, which we got this big gap up from their earnings. We are actually going to be opening this morning a little bit outside of the probable expected move today. So let's be very mindful of that. MACD, the MACD still hadn't even crossed over here on the daily. But something definitely to keep on watch here. Maybe they could very well possibly after what we saw with the SMH, and we see this happening here, so we have to be mindful of that. Okay. So, guys, we are into a major target area here for Intel. This prior swing high right here. This is where we're currently trading right here, right now on Intel, getting a little bit of a gap up this morning. Right at this price point. So be very mindful of that. This could fail very easily this morning. Go here on a 30-minute. Above this could be a look above and fail. So just be very mindful of that. If you go in your daily, we're way extended on the expected move for the week, given all the data. So we are A lot of times, even on these most bullish moves, 2 times the expected move is a very, so we're in a very bear tape. Even getting a 2-time move above the expected move can be uh, a very good target area. Okay, that'd be 32.92. Go back over here in the 30 minute. That gives you some idea where we're at. The 32.92 right here. It turns out to be these prior highs. Broke out of those prior highs. This could very well be a blow off top. So let's be very mindful here. We got to see how price is going to interact with this. I almost guarantee we're going to back test this. I just don't know how far of a pullback we could possibly get. But I'm just saying, getting a back test of this, that's a no-brainer in my opinion. I mean, there's no sense to chase until it back tests at least this, in my opinion. So I'm keeping a very close eye. They're using Apple to help prop up the market. I'm looking for 258, 260 in today's session here on Apple. So heads up on that. So early on in the session, I'm potentially looking for 258 here on Apple, and we'll see what price action ensues from there. Okay, and be very mindful of that going forward here. That I don't think they're going to let the markets go down until Apple's actually completed its pattern. So the initial move off of the data this morning might be a little bit more positive for the open and fade throughout the day. So just by looking what's going on with Apple, we actually may not just drop out of bed from the data this morning. Yeah, we initially might actually find a little bit of bidding in the markets, which ultimately, like I said, could fade throughout the day. And to finish my day here, the most active here at 6 o'clock in the morning, Tesla, NVIDIA, Oracle, Novell, Amazon, uh, SPY, Apple, Google, Microsoft. So all the main, your main candidates here are the most active this morning. So be very mindful of that. Tesla, very popular this morning, it looks like. And it will followed by NVIDIA. NVIDIA this morning's down a little bit. Not, it's just kind of chopping in a range here, so it's not the end of the world. Something to definitely keep on watch here. NVIDIA still trading above last week's uh, central pivot range. So this is more bullish than bearish. Since we're trading above the prior week's weekly range, we are a little bit below our VWAP this morning. So be very mindful of that. Let's see here, what else? Now that Costco is behind us here, guys, I would really keep a laser eye here on Amazon. We could be very well breaking out of this downtrend on Amazon. Actually, Costco numbers were fairly good, so be very mindful of that. Where is Amazon in relation to its expected move for the week? Might be buying this right at the market. Oh, look at this. Amazon's way beyond this week's expected move. Look at this. I would much rather be right here into a buy the dip area. See this right here? So heads up on that. Activate. What is that? 217.96. There you go. Right into that buy the dip area here on Amazon. Right into our, look at that. Look how that's playing out there, guys. Heads up on that. I would be, one of my top watches this morning is to keep a very close eye on Amazon this morning. We're extremely oversold in relation to the expected move for the week. We're testing a major downtrend right into support. Oh, I really like this possibly for the upside if the markets are supported in today's session. Thanks a lot, and I will see you in the trading rooms.